Everything you were ever taught about debt was designed to keep you poor. Save up, pay in cash, avoid loans like the plague. It sounds responsible, and it's exactly why most people stay stuck their whole lives. Because while you're terrified of debt, the rich are borrowing millions on purpose. And every time they do it, they get richer. Debt isn't their enemy. It's their favorite machine. Today I'm going to show you exactly how that machine works. Here's the first thing nobody explains. There isn't one kind of debt, there are two, and they are complete opposites. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket every single month. Think credit cards, car loans, the new phone on installments. It buys things that lose value while you pay interest for the privilege. Good debt does the reverse. It's money you borrow to buy something that puts cash back into your pocket. The rich avoid the first kind like poison and chase the second kind their entire lives. The whole trick rests on one simple idea. Borrow at a low cost and invest it at a higher return. Imagine you can borrow money at 5% a year. Now imagine you use that money to buy something that earns you 10% a year. The gap between them, that 5%, is pure profit, made with money that was never even yours. You didn't wait. You didn't save for a decade. You used the bank's money to make your own. That gap is the money machine. The rich have a word for this. They call it leverage. Leverage means using a small amount of your own money to control something much bigger. Put down $10,000, borrow $90,000, and suddenly you control a $100,000 asset. If that asset grows by 10%, you didn't make 10%. You made 100% on your money because your $10,000 just earned you $10,000 more. That is the secret engine behind almost every great fortune. The classic example is real estate. A rich investor buys an apartment, but they don't pay for all of it. They put down a fraction and the bank lends the rest. Then someone else, the tenant, moves in and pays the rent. That rent covers the loan. So the tenant is quietly paying off an asset the investor gets to keep. The investor used the bank's money and a stranger's rent to buy something for almost nothing out of their own pocket. Multiply that by 10 buildings, and you understand how landlords are built. It isn't just property. Nearly every big business you can name runs on borrowed money. They take loans to open new stores, build factories, and hire staff, long before they've earned the cash themselves. Why wait 20 years to grow slowly with your own money, when you can borrow, grow fast, and pay it back from the profits? Used correctly, debt lets you skip the line. It turns a small idea today into a large empire far sooner than saving ever could. And now, the part that really stings. In most countries, when you borrow money, that loan is not counted as income, so you don't pay tax on it. This is how some of the richest people on earth live like kings while reporting almost no income at all. They don't sell their stock because selling would trigger a tax bill. Instead, they borrow against it. They get millions in cash to spend, completely tax-free, while their assets keep growing behind them. Buy, borrow, and never sell. Now, if this feels uncomfortable, that's normal. You were raised to believe debt is shameful, a sign of failure. And for most people, it truly is, because they only ever meet the bad kind. They borrow to buy things that make them look rich while making them poorer. The rich flip the script. They feel no shame about debt, because to them it's just a tool. And a tool is only dangerous in the hands of someone who doesn't understand it. But make no mistake, this machine cuts both ways. Leverage multiplies your gains, and it multiplies your losses just as fast. If the asset falls instead of rising, you still owe every penny of that loan. Borrow recklessly, and the same engine that builds fortunes can bury you in a matter of months. This is why the rich obsess over one thing above all. The borrowed money must buy an asset that pays for itself. Never debt for toys. Only debt that feeds you. That leads to the rule the wealthy live by. It's not about how much you borrow. It's about whether the thing you bought can cover the payments on its own. A rental that pays its own mortgage is safe debt. A business loan repaid by the business is safe debt. The moment you're paying the loan out of your own paycheck instead of from the asset, you've crossed back into the dangerous kind. Cash flow is king. The asset must carry the debt, not you. So how does someone with normal money begin? You start small and boringly safe. First, you kill every scrap of bad debt. The credit cards, the high-interest nonsense dragging you down. Then you learn one asset deeply, whether it's a small rental, an index fund, or a simple side business. You borrow carefully, only when the numbers clearly work, and you let the asset do the paying. You don't need millions to start thinking this way. You need to understand the machine before you ever touch it. And that's really the whole lesson. It's a shift in how you see money itself. Poor people see debt as a trap to fear. Rich people see debt as a lever to pull. Same tool, opposite lives. One group spends its whole existence running away from the very thing the other group uses to get ahead. Once you truly see the difference between debt that feeds you and debt that eats you, you can never look at a loan the same way again. So here's the truth they never printed in your school book. Debt didn't make people poor. Misusing it did. In the right hands, it's the closest thing to a money machine that exists, quietly building empires while everyone else is scared to touch it. You don't have to fear it, and you don't have to worship it. You just have to understand it. Learn the machine, respect the danger, and one day you might just put it to work for you. I'm the money guy. I'll see you in the next one.